This is Gemara, Metziah, Daf Pei. Hey, firstly, an apology as this daf is coming out late. Unfortunately, I had to travel to pay a shiva call, and that a shtickle derailed the schedule. So I apologize of the lateness of this year. And V'siyata D'Shemaya, next time for Simchais, number one. Number two, I'm sure by now everyone has seen Ter Anytime revving up for their campaign. Let's everyone try to participate as much as they can to facilitate Limara Torah Berabim, the greatest schos that there is. We're at the top of Pehei Amud Aleph, and we're in the middle of discussing three people who are incredible Anvanusam. They're Anava. Says the Gemara, the last line of Peidalim and Beis was Elohein Abba. The Gemara said number one was Abba, Ben Besira, and Yunus, and Ben Shaul. So explains the Gemara, who are these three people? Rashbag, Rishib Gamliel, Hadamaran. That's number one, that he describes himself like a shua, like a fox. B'nei Beseira, where do we find B'nei Beseira? We're Anavim. Damar Ma'ashivu Aberoish. That we see in a Braisa, Hashivu Aberoish. The B'nei Beseira put Hillel to sit at the head of the yeshiva. Uminu Nasi. They appointed him to be the Nasi Aleim on them. And number three, Yonisem ben Shaul the Ka'amar Leila David. He told David HaMelech, Vata Timloich al Yisrael, and you should reign over Klal Yisrael, Va'ani or Va'noichi, Eil Chol Mishnah, and I will be second in command. So says the Gemara, three people who are incredibly humble. Ask the Gemara on Ben Beseira, on Yonisa ben Shaul, Mimai, Dilma Yonisa ben Shaul, the Chazal Digarer, Dilma Yonisa ben Shaul, the Chazal Digarer, Alma Basa David. Maybe it was a political ploy. Maybe he saw that Lamaisa, the people were following David HaMelech, and that's why he told him to be in charge. And similarly, says the Gemara, B'nei Beseira on the first word, Nami the Chazal Hillel to Adam Minayu. Maybe Lamaisa, he saw that Hillel was greater than himself. Says the Gemara, El Rashbag, Vadai, Anvisan Have. Or Shimon Gamliel, that one cannot be questioned. He certainly was one who was an Anav. Says the Gemara, two lines into the Y lines, going back into the previous conversation of Rav Lazar of Shimon, lying in the attic and not decaying for all those years. Amar Rebbe Chavivin Yisurin. We see how incredible Yisurin are. Kibul Leisar Shani. Rav Lazar of Shimon accepted 13 years of suffering. Shit bitam bit mirta, 6 years of samirta, shif bisafrana, 7 of safrana. V'amrilan, some say shiva bisamrata v'shif bisafrana. And therefore, that's what he was mizeicha, to the incredible merit that his body didn't decay for all those years. Arure Devei Rebbe, the stableman of Rebbe's house, Havi Atir, Mishavar Malka, was even wealthier than Shavar Malka. We see the wealth that there was to Rebbe, that even his stableman had such incredible wealth. Kad Havi Rame Kistam Lechevata, when he would throw food to the animals, Havi Azal Kala B'Taleisa Mili, the noise of the animals, all the animals going to eat all the food, the noise went all the way to Leisa Mili 3 mil. Havi Mechavein Durami Ba'ishaita. And when would he do it? When would he throw the food and all this noise would be made? Ta'ayel Rebbe Lebeis Akisei. At the time that Rebbe went to the bathroom, due to the fact that Rebbe would make terrible noises when he went to the bathroom, as he had a kidney stone, and therefore it was very painful. And even still, Rebbe's voice still was louder, was able to be heard. Vishamulei, Nechute Yaman, those all the way at sea, heard Rebbe crying out. So says the Gemara, it's another form of Yisurim, the Yisurim of Rebbe. So says the Gemara, a little bit of a comparison going on. And even so, we see how in pain Rebbe was, says the Gemara, and yet Yesurei der Rav Rav Shimon adifu mid Rebbe. Deilu Rav Shimon me ava ba'u, or me ava holchu. Rav Shimon brought upon the Yisurim with love, and they left with love. The Rebbe aydei ma'isa ba'u, aydei ma'isa holchu. Of course, the Gemara explains what was the ma'isa that brought about the Yisurim to Rebbe aydei ma'isa. We're about 10 lines into the white lines. First one line is Val Yedei aydei ma'isa ba'u mahi dahu agla davi kamanti l'shchita. There was an agala. There was a calf that was on the way to shchita, to be shechted. Also talye l'reishe bekanfei to Rebbe. And he went and he put his head in Rebbe's clothing, like a little child trying to hide. So this animal comes and hides himself in Rebbe's cloak. Kabachi, an animal is crying. Amar le, so Rebbe says to the animal, Zil, go be shechted. Lekach noisarta, for this you were created. Amru, they said in Shemayim. Since Rebbe did not have rachmanas, did not have mercy, leisu alai yisurim. He's going to unfortunately have to endure yisurim due to the lack of care, the lack of love that Rebbe is showing to this animal. That was the mice that brought these horrible yisurim onto Rebbe. What? Kinsha mite the Rebbe. Beisa. One time, Rebbe's maidservant was sweeping the house, Avishadina b'nei Karakashta, and there was a little animals that were on the floor. She was sweeping up, not animals, these little rodents. Amar lo shavkinu. Rebbe said, leave these little creatures. Ksiv, as the pasuk says, Iracham aval kol ma'isav. Of course, incredible tshuva Rebbe doing. Amru, they said in Shemayim, Hoyel u'merachim. Nirachim alei, we will have rachmanus on Rebbe. Says the Gemara, all the years of the suffering of Rav Shimon, he was making, he protected the world, that no one died before their predestined time. The world did not need rain. A day of rain is difficult, like a day of judgment. Of course, we need the rain, but a day of rain is difficult for the people. If not for the fact that we needed rain, the Rabbanan would dive into Mavatal the rain. And in the years of Rebbe, what would happen when they pick up a radish from the ground? Even though it didn't rain, the ground was incredibly moist. When he took up a vegetable in the ground, you don't even see the water. Ikla Rebbe Lasaros Rav Shimon. Rebbe went to visit the place of Rav Shimon after Rav Shimon was niftar. Amar li ish loy ben. Loy say tzaddik. Does that tzaddik have a child? Amar loy ish loy ben. Chol zayna shenischaris b'shnayim. So zcharta b'shmana. And any zayna that usually is hired for 2 hires him, the son of Rav Shimon, for 8. Asay Rebbe comes, Asbechei Rebbe. Rebbe made him into a Rebbe, Ve'ashalmei, and entrusted him to Rav Shimon ben Yasi, ben Isi ben Lekunya. So Shimon Isi ben Lekunya, Achais, even the brother of his mother, to teach him Torah. Call Yom every day, Avikam or Lekreis. Ano. Every day the child would say, I want to go to my city. I don't want to learn here. Lekreis and Azil. Amar Lei. One day, Rav Shimon ben Isi said to him, Chacham Avdi Yatoch. They want to make you into a Chacham, Megaluta, Didava Parsu Allah, put a golden garment upon you. Rebbe Karlacha, and they want to call you Rebbe. Va'at Amr Lekresa Ani Yazel. And you're saying you want to go home to your city. Amr Le, the sun said, Mume Azuve Da. He said, Mume, Lashon of Ashvu Azuve Da. I'm leaving it. I'm not going to say I want to leave again. Ki Gadol, when he grew up, Asi Yasif and Mesivta to Rebbe. He went to the yeshiva of Rebbe Shama Lekale. Rebbe heard his voice, and Amar, he said, Akala, This is the voice. Dummy is comparable to the voice like Kalei of Lazar Rav Shimon. He realized it was his son. Amruleh, they told Rabbi Brehu it's his son. Kari Alei. Rabbi said, Pri Tzadik Eitz Chayim. V'lokuach nafsheis chacham, and he who acquires neshamas is wise. Pri Tzadik Eitz Chayim Zev Yossi Rav Elazar Rav Shimon. V'lokech lefashas chacham Zev Shimon ben Isi ben Lekunya. Ki nach nafshei Rav Yossi ben Rav Elazar was nifter. Amtur lemeravta davuam. They brought him to be buried in his father's cave, the famous Ma'ara of Rav Shimon. And again, there's a snake encircling the cave and not letting him in. Snake, ben. Let a child be buried next to his father. The snake didn't open his mouth. The people thought Rav Shimon was greater than the child, Rav Yossi. And that's the reason why Rav Shimon was allowed to be buried in the cave next to Rav Shimon Bar Yochai, the famous Rashbi. But Rav Yossi is not. Yatsa, Baskal, 3 lines in the white lines. It's not true. It's not that Rav Shimon was greater, but rather Rav Shimon was endured the Yisurim of the cave, and that's why he was allowed to be buried here, whereas his son did not. Continues the Gemara. 2 lines from the white lines. Rabbi Latzender of Tarfin. Rabbi traveled to the city of Rav Tarfin after Rav Tarfin was nifter. Amrlu Yeshbrando says, Hadik to Rav Tarfin have a child, Shayam Mekabeach es Banav. Does Rav Tarfin have a child, Shayam Mekabeach es Banav, who has the habit of cutting down his children? Cause when you take a shvuah, Amrulai, they told Rabbi Ben Einlai, but Ben Bas Yeshlai. He doesn't have any sons, but he has a son from his daughter. And again, hires him for 8. Again, let's just remind ourselves that Pashim Shad over here is that these children they were saying that the Zaina would hire them, is that they were extremely beautiful, and that they were at some level were not necessarily doing the right thing. And Rebbe's taking these children and elevating them and encouraging them to learn Torah. So once again, what does Rebbe say? They bring this child in front of Rebbe, and Amar Rebbe says to me, I'll give you my daughter. Hadar Bey did tshuva. Igid Yamri, some say Nazva v'Girsha. He married Rebbe's daughter and divorced her. Igid Yamri, Loi Nazva Kal Kedei Shaloi. Yoimru b'Shal Zeh Chazer Zeh. People shouldn't say that he did tshuva only to marry the daughter of Rebbe. V'lamlei Kulei. Ask the Gemara, why did Rebbe do this, traveling around to take other people's kids and bring them back to Torah? Explains the Gemara. Dam Rebbe Yudah Merav Amir Amar Rav Chia Bar Rabba Rav Yechon Amar Rav Shua Bar Nachmani Amar Rav Yonasan. 4th wide line, a very powerful and important line. Kol Amei Lamed has been Chaviru Torah. Zoy Chavi Yeshiv Yeshiva Shal Ma'ila. One wants a ticket straight to Gan Eden. Teach someone else's children Torah. Shenemar Im Tashav Hashivcha Lefnei Ta'amoy. Chol Malamed has been Amaretz Torah. Afilu HaKadosh Baruch Hu Kaiser Gzeira Mevaloi B'Shviloi. Hashem undoes Gezeiros. So teaches the son of an Amaretz Torah. Shenemar V'Imdaiti Yakar Mizolol Kefi Tihi Yeh. Continues the Gemara. Amar Rav Parnach Amar Rav Yochanan, says the Gemara. Rav Parnach teaches native Rav Yochanan Kol Shu Talmid Chacham Ubenai Talmid Chacham Uben Benai Talmid Chacham. You have 3 generations. Shavein Torah by seconds Mizara. The Torah will not stop from that family. Loilam Shenemar V'Nizais Receiving Gaimer Leimusha Bicha Bizara Chabi Zara Chamar Hashem Me'atav Elolam. My Amar Hashem. What does mean Amar Hashem? Amar Kadosh Baruch Hu. Ani Oriv. I am the guarantor. Says Hashem B'Davar Zeh. My Me'atav Elolam. Amar Rav Yirmiyah. Mikan Ve'ilach Torah Machzar Zal San Shalai. The Torah will always come back to its home. Continues the Gemara. Rav Yosef Arba and Danisa 4 fasts I grew, and he and they read him from Shemayim the following pasuk: Yamushu lo Yamushu bicha Yosef Arbaim Tanisa. So he fasted another 40 fast achrina. V'akrina lo Yamushu bicha bizarecha. Yosef meyo Tanisa achrini, another 100 fast. Also v'kar lo Yamushu bicha bizarecha mipi zera zarecha. Amri kan ve'ilach lo serechna Torah lo serechna. Said, okay, I don't have to fast anymore. Why? Torah machseres al-sani shalah. Once the Torah is so strong in the family, it will remain. Rav Zera, Kisalik L'Aretz Yisrael, when Rav Zera, 5 lines to the end of Pehei Aleph, went up to Eretz Yisrael, Yosef Me'at Anisa, V'leish Tachach, Gemara Babla. He fasted 100 times. Why? So he could forget Talmud Balbi Minei. Why? Kecha Delay, Nitzradeh. He didn't want it to distract him. He wanted to learn Talmud Yerushalmi, the Torah in Eretz Yisrael. So he fasted to forget Talmud Babli in order to be able to learn the great Torah of Yerushalayim. Yosef Me'achrina. So then he fasted another 100 times, Olishkaiv, so that Olishkaiv Rav Lazar Bishnei, Rav Lazar should not be nifter while he's there. V'nafal inulei mili ditzibura, and he didn't want to have to take over any public matters. He wanted to make sure Rav Lazar was still alive. Yosef Me'achrini, another 100 fasts. Lo nishal be'nura, the Gehenim shouldn't be rolling over him. Every 30 days, Rav Zera would check himself to make sure he was still this incredible tzaddik, shagur tanura. He turned on his oven, salik, he went, he sat inside the oven. And the fire didn't consume him. So he knew that he's on the level. One day, the Rabbanan looked at him, and then the fire sin shaki his size, and that's why Vakarale, they used to refer to Rav Zera as Katin Charich Shake, the small man with the singed thighs. Amar Rav Yehuda Amar Rav, in the last line, what's the meaning of the pasuk? Miyoish hachacham, the Evan Ezos, who's the wise person, understands all this. Vashem Pi Hashem Eilav Yigidu Almam. And they'll tell you, Amma of the Arts, why was the land lost? Tavar Zed, this matter, Amru Chachamim. We turn over to Pehei Amid Beis. Teaches the Gemara, say Chazal. V'lo Pershu, they didn't explain it. Amr Nevi'im, v'lo Pershu Ad. She'pirshu HaKadosh Baruch Hu Ba'atzmai. This is a statement that only Hashem himself, says the Gemara, could explain that what? On the third line. Don't forsake my Torah. And Amar Rav Yehuda Amar Rav, why? Because he did not make brachos on Torah. Amar Rav Chama Maidich Sev. What is the meaning of the pasuk? Blame Navain Tanuach Chachma. What is the meaning of the pasuk that wisdom rests in the heart of man? Ubekarav Kisilim Tivada Deya. But amongst the simple people, it makes itself known. Blame Naman was that Tamachacham and Tamachacham. Kisilim Taida is that Tamachacham and Aretz. Amarula teaches Ula Hainu Damrin, is what people say. Astira Bilagina, this is what people say. A sella and pitcher, kish kish karya, makes a sound like kish kish. Amar lei, Rav Yirmiyah the Rav Zera, Maidach Sev, Kata Megadol Shamyu, Vever Chavshi Me'adai Nov. Do we not know on the third 3 lines on the white lines? The cut of Gadol Shambu. You don't make yourself haughty. The opposite, you make yourself small on Divrei Torah in this world. And what are you? In the next world, you'll receive the word. So he makes himself like an Eved on Torah in this world. Will be free in the next world. All incredible memories about Limud Torah. Of course, there's always extra depth to be had, but we continue. On the first white line says, he would mark the different kvarim of the Rabbanan. When he came to the Ma'ara is literally a cave. That's where they used to be buried of Rav Chia. He couldn't find it. It was buried. It was hidden from him. Chalash Taitir, Sakish felt bad. There was no one as great as Rav Chia. Excuse me. He did not learn Torah like him. It's true. But Torah kamaisa Eloi rivsa. You did be mefalfel and Torah like him. However, Torah kemaisa Eloi ribatzta. You did not disseminate. You didn't teach Torah like Rav Chia did. Explains the Gemara, the very famous memra of Rav Chia. Kavi minsi Rav Chanina, Rav Chia Amrullah Rav Chanina. The Rav Chia told Rav Chia, "Bahadi didei come in atzti." You can argue with me, says Rav Chanina. Chas v'shalom mimeshechel Torah miYisrael. Said Rav Chanina, you know what would happen if I noticed that Torah is being forgotten from Klal Yisrael? Mahadran Allah, I would go around the Maypil Puli, and through my Pilpul, I would teach everyone the Torah. Omar le Rav Chia Rav Chanina, Bahadi didei come in atzti. You're fighting with me. Davdi Torah delot tishacham miYisrael. Don't fight with me. You know why? Because I make sure Torah is not forgotten. What did Rav Chia do? Ma'avina. Says the Gemara, Zelna v'shadina kinta v'gadilna nishvi. Rav Chia went again. One more time. Zelna v'shadina kisna. He's going to plant flax. V'gadilna nishvi, and through the flax he makes nets, traps. V'sayadnei tavei, and he traps and catches deer. Machal nabasrai, when he feeds the deer meat. Lias, me, the meat of the deer he feeds the Yisayim. V'arechna migilasa. And then what does he do next? He takes the parchment of the deer and he makes scrolls. V'kasimnan, on the scrolls he writes, Chamisha chomshe 5 chomashim. He comes to the town, and he teaches 5 children the 5 books of Torah. Mastina shita yinuki umas Nita Shita Yinuki, and then he takes 6 other children, Shita Sidra, and he teaches them 6 orders of Mishnayis. V'amrina lehu, and I tell them, Adaharna v'asina, and when I go and I come back, Akri Adaldi, everyone teach each other what you learned, these 11 boys. V'asne v'snaye, Adaldi teach the Mishnayis to each other. Avdal Torah l'shacham Yisrael. Said Rav Chia, that's what I do, so Torah is not forgotten. V'aynu damri Rebbe, Kama gedayle ma'aseh Chia. How great are the actions of Chia. Amar le Rishval bar Rav Yosi, afilu mimar. Even greater than you. Amar le en, afilu me Abba. Amar le chas v'shalom, no way is it greater than your father. Lo Concise v'Yisrael. There's no such thing like this in Klal Yisrael. And of course, we'll just make mention of the very famous Chaim Shulevitz, that you see that Rav Chia didn't stam just teach them Torah. He ensured that there was tahira, there was purity from the first moment that he grew his own flax, he trapped his own deer, he fed the kids, and only then, on those parchments did he write the Torah, ensuring in every stage of the chinuch was done by himself with ultimate and utmost purity. Amar Rav Zira Emesh, yesterday nearly Rav Yisrael Chanina appeared to me in a dream. Amarti Lai, I said to him, where are you stationed in the next world? Amarli Eitzel Rav Yechanan. Rav Yechanan Eitzel me. Eitzel Rav Yanai. Rav Yanai Eitzel me. Eitzel Rav Chanina. Rav Chanina Eitzel me. Eitzel Rav Chia. Amarti Lai. I said to him, Rav Yechanan Eitzel Rav Chia Lai. Rav Yechanan, he couldn't sit next to Rav Chia. It said Rav Yechanan is only next to Rav Yanai. And Rav Yanai is next to Rav Chanina. Rav Chanina is next to Rav Chia. So Rav Yechanan is so far removed. Amar Li responded, Ba'asar dizkukin dinura, uba'urin da'ashan, a place of lightning bolts and fires. Man me'al bar navcha l'taman. How could bar navcha, how could Rav Yochanan go there? He wasn't great enough to go to such high levels. Amar Rav Chaviva, Sharli Rav Chaviva, bar Surmaki. Rav Chaviva bar Surmaki told me, Chazilei me'huv me'rabanan. I saw one of the Rabbanan Davishachav Eliyahu Gabei, that Eliyahu was visiting him, the Lazafra, Havi Shapira Nene, that in the morning his eyes of this Rav seemed fine, and at night it looked like this Rabbanan's eyes were singed by a fire. Amruleh, I said to him, my hi, what's going on? You don't look good. He said, I asked Eliyahu to show me the Rabbanan Kisal Kilim Sifta Derakia. He asked Eliyahu Hanavi to show him the Rabbanan in Shamayim Amar Ali. And Eliyahu Hanavi said, all the Rabbanan you could gaze at Levar, Mehurhaka, to Rav Chaya. Aside for Rav Chaya's throne, the Losakal Bay, you can't look at. Ma'isem Nayu. So, what does Rav Chiya's throne? How is it different than everyone else's? Bekule, Osli Malache, all the other Tamid Chachamim, Malachim assist him, Kisalki, Vinachti, when they go up and they come down. Levai, Migur Hakid, Rav Chiya, the throne of Rav Chiya, the Menavshei, Salik Vinaches, which on its own goes up and down. Lamatis Lok Menavshei. And this Rav said over, he wasn't able to hold back. In this Talki Bay, I looked at the throne of Rav Chiya. Asu trey betuti denura, 2 sparks of fire came. Lahu gavra, and they hit a man talking about himself. And it blinded his eyes. The next day, Azal ishtachi amarta. I went to the kever of Rav Chiya, Amina, and I said, Masnaita demar misnaita. Let the mashnayis and the seftas of Rav Chiya that I learned, Vistaye, and that through that he was healed. The incredible Kayach HaTaira, the different levels that one can reach. And one last story, he says, the Gemara Eliyahu, Havi Shachim Sifta de Rabbi. Eliyahu would visit the yeshiva of Rabbi. We're approximately 15 lines to the bottom. The first word in the line is Chad. Yom Chad, one day, Reish Yarcha Havei. One day, Rosh Chodesh Nagi V'lo Yasa. Eliyahu didn't come yet. Amar Lei, when he finally came, Rabbi said, My time in Nagich Lamar. Eliyahu, where were you? Why were you late? Amar Lei, Eliyahu Navi responded, Ad Okbi Lavram. By the time I woke up, Avram, Umashani Yadeh Umetzale, and I washed his hands and he davened. Umagnina Lei. And then I put Avram Avinu back down. V'chen Yitzchak v'chen Yaakov v'lok mi v'hadi adadi. Excuse me, and that's what took time. Asked Rebbe to Eliyahu Navi, why don't you just wake up Avram Yitzchak Yaakov all at the same time? Savri, Eliyahu said, in Shemayim they hold, Takvi Barachami, the Avos will daven too much of Rachmim if they all get up at the same time. Umaisi Leila Mashiach, Beloi Zamane, and they're going to be able to bring Mashiach at the wrong time. Amar Lei, Rebbe said, V'yishtuk Masam B'al Mazad is someone similar in this world. Amar Lei, Eliyahu says, Ika Rav Chiya Ubanov. Gaza Rebbe Tainisa, Rebbe was Geyser Tainis, Achtinu Rav Chiya Ubanov. During the tefillah, he put Rav Chiya and his children to down for the Amid. Amar Mashav Aruach, Benashva, Zika. Rav Chiya and his son said the wind should blow and it blowed. Amar murdered Geshem, Asa Mitra, and the rain came. Kimat Lememar, when they came to say, Machayim Isim, Ragash Alma, the world shook. Amri, they said, Amri Berakia, they said in Shemayim, Man Gali Raza Alma. Who revealed our secrets to this world? What's going on? There's someone davening that is slowly changing the world. Amri, they said, it's Eliyahu. Asiol Eliyahu, Machi, Sheeted, Poltua, Denura. So Eliyahu came, and they brought Eliyahu, and they gave him 60 lashes of fire. Asa Eliyahu Navi came down to the tefillas, Andale Keduba. He appeared like a beer, Denura, of fire, Albanayu, Vitaridnu, and he entered Vitaridnu, and he made them Torah. They weren't able to daven, Machayim Esim, so as not to bring back to Machayim Esim at the wrong time. Stop over here. We'll pick it up from Shmuel, B'siyata Dishmaya.